before he went to High Point. And when I first gave it to him, he's like, Dad, really? And I said, listen, the guy that wrote it, he's kind of cool. I figured maybe you guys would get a connection. So, with this begrudging look, he flipped through it and he started laughing at a couple of things you had wrote on there, you know what I mean? And so I noticed he continued to flip through your book. So,
That's awesome.
so my son did read your book. I got a sort of warm heart in my in my mind's eye because your book touched my son.
That's
So
awesome.
so thank you, Austin. That was back when you just graduated college, correct?
Yeah, I wrote the book during college, so it was like a blog, and then this publisher told me that there was no chance I could actually publish it. It was like 80,000 words. It was going to be like a size of a Bible, and so I had to rewrite the entire book 2016 into 2017, and I self-published it in 2017.
And I only say that because it kind of defines you. And then the next time I met you, I was working with your, I'm going to call him benefactor, partner, sponsor. We'll talk about what they do, but everybody in the area knows the Griffin Brothers, and they don't talk much, right? And I was putting on a small business event, and Mike said, "Listen, Joe, you know I really don't want to get up and talk a lot, but I got a young man that I really think would be great." And so I said, "Well, who's going to say no to Mike Griffin, right? You understand that, right? Whatever you say, Mike. Okay." And so he says, "I got a great young man. You're really going to like him, and he can talk about our new program called Zoom Up because he's helping us develop it."
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know what to expect. And here you come limping up to the stage. I don't know if you remember now. I think you broke your ankle or something like that. Limping up to the stage. All the women were just melting over you. Dad, look at that young man coming up there, just limping up to the stage. And that you really impressed them talking about your ambition and the ambition of others, people wanting to get in small business, and this Zoom Up program. And that was sort of your start into business. Talk about the meeting and the first relationship that you had with the Griffin brothers, because that is kind of the beginning of your story, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes back. I'm from Western North Carolina, a small town called Valdez, and my mom fusses at me, but I always say, I used to say I didn't come from nothing, but I came from a whole lot of family, but not high income or anything. And my mom was a school teacher for 30 years, and my dad worked in a small IT for the city of Morganton. And really, I just always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I started selling candy out of a shoebox at my sister's basketball games, and the best skill they taught me at 12 years old, taught me how to wash a car. And I started Austin's Amazing Car Wash when I was 12. And then kind of fast forward, got to UNC Chapel Hill, knew that, I wanted to travel. I wanted to kind of explore. Took a trip overseas to London and saw this wash while you shop concept at Tesco, which is similar like a Target. And Tesco people would probably be mad if they heard me say that. But anyway, I took this wash while you shop concept back to Chapel Hill. That was my sophomore year. And then me and my actually roommate at the time started what was called Waterless Buddies, which was a waterless car wash company. Chapel Hill wouldn't let us put any water on the ground in a shopping center, so everything had to be waterless. And so we would partner with these shopping centers, wash cars. Well, Mike and I met at during one of the pitch competitions, so like a Shark Tank type event that the business school puts on. And him and I still debate what exactly he said, but how I took it was that he didn't know this. I was trying to cold call Carl Howard. It's another small business. Well, it ain't really small, but big business in the area. And was trying to get in touch with Carl Howard, how his family started and grew their car wash business and still to this day. And Mike said something to the effect of, like, I'm really interested in your business. I love your passion, but I'm probably not your investor. Well, this is February of 2015. And so we just stayed in touch. And I had an opportunity to go to San Francisco. And then Mike offered me a job to come to Charlotte to work for his family's business. And I took the leap and came to Charlotte. I, ironically enough, did not want to move to the city. I wanted to get away. My parents are from an hour away. I loved being away from home and then coming back. And But it was the biggest blessing. I just didn't know, and Charlotte's now become home for me because of that opportunity that the Griffins gave me.
So after you spoke on Zoom Up, right?
Yep.
Which is this program that the Griffin brothers have of looking and finding people to help them start small businesses. They call them dirty businesses. They like service-related businesses because that's where their father taught them as well.
Yep, exactly.
And so after that happened, what was your role with Griffin Brothers when you first got started? Because I knew you as a guy looking for businesses to help them.
Yeah, so Mike has hired, and he's had 7 of them so far. I think it was the 3rd. Entrepreneur apprentice type program. I jokingly said I was a custodian because I did whatever they asked me to do.
Right.
I drove around. I picked stuff up, but really, it really gave me a chance to see under the hood of a family business.
So when we come back, let's talk about Zoom Up and exactly what that does.
Okay, great.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. We'll be right back.
Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Okay. That's just showing you how many seconds are left.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm sorry. I should have told you that.
No, you're good. I was kind of getting the vibe.
I'm surprised the new boy knew to put that up there. Good job, dude. Good. You've given me no reason to pick on you yet, man. That's a problem. How you gonna get a nickname if you don't do something wrong?
He's just new boy for a while.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point. Oh wait, that was wrong.
Okay, so in 5 minutes, Bill Russell was going to call us.
Okay.
And we're going to talk with him for about 10 minutes. So be prepared that we may be interrupted by Bill.
Okay, perfect.
When Bill is on the phone, just kind of give me a wave, and you'll hear me sort of bring him in. Okay. And I want to talk about the Small Business. Do you know much about Small Business Expo? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of commercial work?
Yeah.
Then you should know about Small Business Expo tomorrow, and you should try and go by there also.
Okay.
It literally is 222 or so. We'll find out exactly from Bill. Small business people in the area that set up little tables and booths, and then it's open to the public.
Where's it at?
It's in the Huntersville Aquatic Center.
Recreation Center. We're broadcasting from there too. We'll be there a lot going
live. Will you?
By the booth, come hang out.
That's awesome.
But it's a great place for you to meet owners that are looking for that type of,
great.
Awesome. So anyway, I always like to help the chamber with stuff.
Gotcha.
So I want to give him a couple of minutes to talk about it.
Cool.
We joke about it because I've just been here for so long, and this is a small business show. Just about everybody in and around the station has come through the show, so I call them my mentees. So Bill Russell's got his own show now. So there's about 12 people that have their own shows. All of them have been through the show at some point, and I call them my mentees.
Fair enough.
It's just kind of fun. Pick on them.
All right, we're coming up on 30
Are we ready to go?
Yep.
Just so you know, you got 9 seconds, and then that blue is the intro, the 10-second intro.
Got it.
At the end of the month, you're going to have this figured out.
On 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah! You are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you because that's what we do here at News Talk WSIC, 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone, and I am here with my friend, whether he will admit it or not, and most of the time they don't admit it, Austin Helms. He is the founder, partner of NuBlue Services. Austin, my friend, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So you're kind of warming to my heart to watch this young man get started. I feel like I was at the beginning, right? Because I remember Mike talking about the Zoom Up program. Talk a little bit about that, because you you helped them design that, correct?
Yeah, Mike used to call it BUB, which was buying ugly businesses or buying unique businesses. And I'm like, if you want to recruit millennials, we got to change the name. You had, depending on who the audience was, you couldn't say BUB, you couldn't say ugly, because if it was a guy who loved his business, you ain't gonna call his business ugly. But anyway, I actually got shirts made that said buying ugly businesses. I can't find them anymore. But yeah, Zoom Up just kind of starts for just a flip of a startup. Right. Trying to zoom up an existing business. But we I was brought in, and right before they sold their founding business. Actually, I was brought in right after. I took the job because I wanted to work in the tire business, and they said, "Oh, we still have a job for you." But but no, it was a pretty cool transition. Zoom Up, the whole vision behind it is to invest into young men and women who want to, they have this, Mike calls it the forward focus mentality. So low burn rate, probably no kids at the time, of starting the business, 25 to 35 years old, and either acquire, invest, or start from scratch. And they did all three while I was there. There was a couple acquisitions, one or two investments into businesses, and then there was a couple startups. And, that's kind of what led me into starting what was called Ease Plumbing in 2019.
So, just for those very few people listening that don't know who the Griffin brothers are, they are a phenomenal group of family members whose father has built a wonderful multi-unit, different industry business, and over the years they have grew them, expanded them, sold some of them, and once they sold one of their primary businesses, which was Griffin Brothers Tire and Auto Repair, which is probably what most people know them for, because it was sort of retail related, although they have other things. They moved into this, we would call it a capital investment firm, and what they want to do is help young people get started and them take a piece of it. And what I really like about the concept, do the things that most people in small business either don't want to do or no good at, right? So the concept that I really attached myself to, I really love the concept and the idea. And so how long did it take to sort of perfect it and get it to where you think you're smiling like it's still not perfected, but give me an idea on that.
Well, because I'm one of the operating Zoomers is what we're called, so our NuBlue is not perfect and never will be, but as far as the shared service, they did a really good job. It probably took them 5 years to really figure it out, which is accounting, payroll, marketing. Well, accounting, payroll, more of like big high level finance, shared services, the loan aspect, the money piece, and then the tech piece. So, as you probably can imagine, this business, phones go out, internet goes out, and I don't know how to deal with that stuff. I can work my cell phone, but if it don't work, I don't know what to do. And so, anyway, it probably took him 4 or 5 years. There was a guy, he's no longer with them, or he's on his way out. There's a guy named Diavon that really helped shape a lot of their shared services, that built a heck of a business. He had to do a lot of cleaning up. But, there was a lot of investments made really, really fast. So it was kind of I think they made 6 or 7 investments without true structure built. And so that all had to be built from scratch. Because they had legacy businesses. Then you had all these startups, which were much different than their legacy companies.
Have you guys realized that one's more successful than another, buying and existing and growing it or starting from scratch? Does one seem to yield better results? Does it show that way in any?
It depends on. It really depends on the person. And I know I don't want to hate on your business.
Listen, that is the truth of all business.
But there's a lot of guys out there who. And I meet with them, search type folks who want to buy a business. If you're a search fund type person, unless you got that dog in you, as my buddy says, you need not to buy a business that's less than $10 million, because that's going to have managers in place, that thing. So if you got that dog in you, I say start up every time, no questions asked, because one, you get to build your culture from the beginning. Just in my business, plumbing, if I would have bought a plumbing business that did $3 million revenue, and then having to train Service Titan. I have to train guys now and they're brand new. Just imagine just training fresh guys who've done stuff the same over and over and over. So it all depends. I think the bigger is better. I think you start buying when you build up a decent business. And then other tradespeople, other service, small businesses, they respect a hustler. They respect the hard
Right.
work. So if you go out and start a business, what you do is you actually and you do quality work. You take care of people. You do what you say you're going to do. You'll get other companies that will say, "Hey, Johnny, I'm ready to retire. I see you built a heck of a business over there." And that's happened. That folks have come to us to say, "Oh, we were not really ready to purchase them," but these were reputable businesses in my trade. They ended up selling to somebody else because I said, "I'm not ready for that."
Right.
But I think it does depend. And it also depends on the industry. But I like startups. I don't know.
Right.
I like because the early stage stuff for me. All of our support staff would laugh because I do a lot of startup like things, like just make a decision as quick as possible. Don't think about the process that we
Right.
built. Just go. And but again, sometimes small businesses needs that mentality. But to scale a small business, you got to have process.
Right. Well, and so in your case, though, you got something that most other small business people don't have. I sure wish I had it, years ago, which is you could pick up the phone and call Mike and Larry, right? And say, "Hey, guys, what do you think?"
Yep.
And then make a fast decision. So you get the years of their experience, right? And then you can decide what you want to do. That gives you a leg up that others just don't have.
Well, yeah, and we also have the other guys that they've invested in. So I'm one of the younger ones. So they've got guys that are older than me that have dealt with stuff I've never dealt with, and that's even down to like relationships. Like, hey, I might be looking to buy an engagement ring. How the heck I do one of that? Or like you get this like brotherly love,
Right.
and then I think it's too like it's a little bit more of a mentor. Like then there's stuff that I'm 30 years old. These guys might be 38, 39. And they may call me, ask for advice. So it's kind of it's like a little give and take. And then a lot of these businesses work together. Like we were up in Western North Carolina giving temporary water. That job came through a sister company that's in the Griffins, a restoration business, Sasser Restoration out of Greensboro, Gibsonville, excuse me. And so I think that's the other big piece is a lot of our businesses tie into one another. Like they have a septic and grease trap pumping business. I show up to a restaurant to go clear a sewer. The grease trap's backed up. I call Greenway. So just kind of if you ever need a tradesperson, you just call me. There's about one or two of the trades I can't handle. If I don't know them, I know people that know them, and we can get.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. We got people that build custom cabinets. I mean, it's been fun.
So I'm curious. When we met, you didn't own a business, right? Is it everything you thought it would be? Like, is it? And so, well, answer that first, and then I want to know why you chose plumbing. So, So, has it been everything you thought it would be?
Can I cuss on air? All right, so I'll say it. So the really, really good days make the crappy days that much better.
Yeah.
So it's like I think the best and worst part about starting a business, owning a business is the people. It's the best thing about it, but it also can be the absolute worst part.
Yeah.
And so everything I thought it would be, I would say I don't know because I don't think I really knew. I've learned more in the last 5 years than I would ever have gotten at any MBA program that I would ever dreamed of.
Sure. And your professors have been there, done that from a larger scale and from a startup. So you really are in this exceptionally, you may not know it, but I'm here to tell you, right? A guy that's been self-employed since he's 17 years old, getting Larry and Mike's advice is just absolutely invaluable because they have this spectrum of large business and startup, and that's a rare treat in small business.
Oh yeah.
So why did you choose plumbing? Because you could have they'd have set you up in any service-related business, right? Why plumbing?
Well, I had looked at it was one of the only other investments they didn't have before I left. So I actually left for 6 months. I tried to go start a software business in 2019, and it was one of the business we had looked at before I'd left, and I kind of liked it because plumbing never stops. It doesn't matter if it's cold, it's hot. I always say that wives don't take cold showers and shitters always get full. And so I like the consistency of the business, and there's a seasonality. And I really didn't choose it. Mike called me about 5 times and said, "Do you want to do this?" And I didn't have a job.
Please.
And I was jobless, and I was fresh off an ACL tear. That's when you saw me. And so I was fresh off an ACL tear. I was going through a little bit of depression because I had to move back to Valdez, and so I was like, "Oh, heck."
He caught you right when you were living with Mama.
Yeah, and my friends, I had some friends tell me I was flushing my dreams away because I wanted to move out west. I wanted
Right.
to move to Texas, start a software business. And
Right.
I thought when we started, I thought it was going to be I was like, this is like Monopoly.
Right.
This will be a short-term thing. Michael
Right.
let me run it for 6 months. If it don't work out, not a big deal.
Right.
What happened in the first 2 months, 3 months, I did not expect. I had zero clue of what I was doing. I was hiring people at an unreasonable clip because we kept getting the calls. I was
Right.
interviewing you, Joe, and you'd sit down, and I would, oh gosh.
Can you go this afternoon? And
Yeah. Hopefully the HR folks aren't listening, but I would say, can you pass a background drug test? And then they would look at me and say, oh yeah. And then I'd say, well, how much you want an hour? And they'd say some crazy high number, and I'd say, sounds good, sign right here. And they'd jump back and be shocked. And I was like, so I was having to fully trust so many people right from the get-go, and I think that may be the oddest part of the entrepreneurial story.
Right. And we're going to have all month to talk about it as well. You are listening to Austin Helms, and we will be right back.